NYCFC will face a Toronto FC team without two of its stars. Don't call it a rematch. The last time New York City FC and Toronto FC matched up was in NYCFC's first playoff appearance last November. One in which they were shockingly outscored, 7-0, an aggregate record high for a two-leg series. It was not the impression Patrick Vieira wanted to make in his first season with NYCFC. But the second-year coach downplayed Wednesday night's match at Yankee Stadium. Vowing NYCFC aren't trying to get even from their burnout last fall. I think that game we've learned a lot because we have a tough way to understand what it takes to win or to be in the final or play in the playoff, Vieira said. I think that game was a good learning process for us to see how we wanted to rebuild the team and how we wanted to improve. NYCFC 33 points, currently sit third in the Eastern Conference, just 5 points behind leaders Toronto FC. Much of NYCFC's success this season has depended on the backs of multiple additions like midfielder Alexander Ring, whose Bulldog style arguably has made him the most important signing in MLS this off-season. Another addition, goalkeeper Sean Johnson, has made life much easier for NYCFC after 2 dreadful seasons of Josh Saunders in net. Johnson, who has been rejuvenated in his short time with NYCFC, was selected by Bruce Arena to represent the U.S. national team in the Gold Cup. But after he failed to record a single minute in the tournament's group stage, Johnson was released back to New York, which spared NYCFC from rolling out backup Eirik Johansson, who started in the 2 awful playoff games against Toronto last season. In Johnson's absence, Johansson looked shaky at best in 2 plug-in appearances. 1 win, 1 loss, so the return of Johnson is certainly more than welcome. Toronto FC will be without former Red Bull Josie Altidore and Michael Bradley, who left the team this week to join the U.S. national team in the quarterfinals. The loss of those stars, in addition to an already depleted squad missing starting wing-back Justin Morrow, U.S. and midfielder Armando Cooper, Panama. Vieira said NYCFC must not take anything for granted. Even with Toronto's marquee best players missing the match, the biggest mistake that we can make is to think that because of Altidore and Bradley going to the national team, that the game will be easy for us, Vieira said. There's no easy game in MLS. And especially against Toronto, because I believe Toronto is one of the best, if not the best roster in the league. While NYCFC skirts disaster with midfielders Yangel Herrera and Maxi Morales returning from injuries, they'll be without winger Rodney Wallace, Costa Rica, and midfielder Miguel Camargo, Panama, both of whom are still out on international duty at the Gold Cup. It's a completely different game, said Vieira on the difference from last year's playoff matchup. Last year, there was a big difference between the 2 teams and the 2 football clubs. I think we improved a lot. We are a better team than we were last year, so it will be a completely different game. Wednesday night's match marks the first of 2 home matches for NYCFC this week, both against the teams Toronto FC and Chicago Fire. That sit ahead of them in the Eastern Conference standings.